So you're saying that Carisha is predator no different than Nicki Minaj? She likes that. That turns her on.
Diddy comes from being sued yet again, twice in 1 week. This time, the young woman is accusing him of but she's also claiming that he got her pregnant and then her to get an abortion. And in this lawsuit, they also named Yungmiami.
Here's a second. JT. What don't y'all understand?
To be on payroll.
How many ways do I have to say it? This is what they pay big to do damage and procure victims.
So Yungmiami is working hard to cover her tracks, but she is failing big time, so the rapper recently broke down and revealed how did he her to be his P now. The fans believe the part about her being a for the music mogul Diddy, but the part about him her not so much. You see, Jaguar R dropped the ball on Yungmiami a long time ago, and according to her, Miami was getting paid $250,000 a month to procure victims for Diddy, and her role is finally coming to light, since a new lawsuit against Diddy directly mentions her and how she helped Diddy mistreat the victim. So just what did Yungmiami say? And what she really Diddy's victim? It's time to find out.
You couldn't wait for Cassie to win. You couldn't wait to be in Cassie's shoes. Carisha, please.
So Diddy's freak-off parties have made a major part of the indictment, and it turns out that one of the male workers who was supposedly hired for these parties was sitting on a videotape. According to sources close to the investigation, the male worker met with federal investigators following Diddy's arrest in New York City and handed over the tape. He signed an agreement that allows him to speak to federal investigators without fear of prosecution. Thanks to the agreement, the male soarer was supposedly able to delve into the details about the freak ghosts. He also provided information about the type of illegal substances that he used. As for how things went down, according to the Mel's worker, he flew from Atlanta to Miami to meet up with Diddy and an unnamed woman in May last year. Now keep the date in mind, because we're going to come back to it later. The male-ass worker ended up having sex with the woman while Diddy filmed the encounter, kind of similar to the incidents that Cassie described in her lawsuit, right? But by some turn of events, the male's worker was able to make a copy of that tape, which he turned over to the feds. Now internet detectives have been focused on figuring out the identity of the woman participating in the freak-offs, and it looks like they might have found their woman. Remember how we asked you to take notes of the date? Well, on May 26, 2023, Yungmiami jumped on X and posted a video of herself shopping with the caption, "He want to sponsor my #active thank you Poppy." Well, fans think that Diddy was the one who took her shopping as a reward for her participating in the freak-off. And if you think that's a stretch, we'll look closely at her nails. Miami is wearing white nails, and if you remember Cassie's lawsuit, she said that Diddy was into white nails, and according to the documents, Miss Venter was required to dress up in lingerie for info, and Mr. Combs insisted that she wear white nail polish to contrast her nails with the skin of the black men he hired to have sex with her. Miami posted another picture on her IG with the caption, "Bobby and Whitney." This time she was hugging Diddy from behind, while he snapped a selfie on the balcony. FYI, she was referencing Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, who got married back in 1991, and their entire relationship was about infidelity, heavy use allegations of mistreatment, and diminishing professional careers. The fact that Miami was comparing herself to Diddy to these two spoke volumes. It looks like she was trying to paint herself as Diddy's ride or die despite the skeletons in his closet. And so it's safe to assume that Yungmiami's real name, Carisha R. Brownlee, did participate in that freak-off. However, the real question is, was she a victim like Cassie or a perpetrator? Well, it seems like she was just like Diddy. So then Diddy got hit with another lawsuit by a woman in New York. The victim chose to identify herself as Jane Doe and claimed that she was repeated immediately and at Diddy's home. However, what's interesting is that Carisha has been named dropped in the lawsuit. She was apparently part of the mistreatment, especially when Jane became pregnant. According to the court documents, Carisha Brownlee, defendant Coles's associate, mistreated Jane Doe by repeatedly calling her and telling Jane Doe to have an Aurora. Jane Doe suffered a mere scage and did not speak to defendant Combs or his team for approximately 3 months. The rest of the details are downright disturbing as well. Apparently, in late 2022, Diddy got in touch with the victim again and continued the cycle of mistreatment. And according to the documents, at every visit, defendant Combs would make her perform a show for him and would ply her with until she passed out. She would wake up but with no recollection of how she sustained her injuries. This continued until July of 2024. In July of 2024, defendant comes commanded Jane Doe to his home in Miami. When Jane Doe arrived at his Miami home, defendant Holmes shoved 2 pills in Jane Doe's mouth. Now the women did choose to hide their identity, but the fans have a pretty good idea of who she is. They think it's Gina Hune. She famously dated the record executive and spoke up about how he mistreated her behind the scenes.
But he kept, I was like pleading to him, like, can you stop? I can't breathe. And he like stopped for a little bit. He like grabbed my hair from the mat and like this like the back of my head, because he was just avoiding my face when he was like.
But more importantly, she was involved in a public feud with Yungmiami over Diddy back in December 2022. She posted a story of herself saying the words "Dumby," which fans thought was a call out to Miami since Diddy kind of walked all over her by having a kid with another woman. She even captioned the video when she beefing with you over an N-word, but the whole time he got somebody else pregnant. And City Girls down 1,000. Well, Feuds Miami was a part of the City Girls duo, an American hip-hop duo consisting of her and GT, so of course she got read up about the call-out. She jumped on X and tried to Regina for filth, writing, "You want a baby B, I have a career, you a certified freak, you haven't heard from Diddy since the awards," reminiscing on Abos. Let that her goach. She followed it up with another post writing, "Gina, you've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. You've been crying for a baby for 10 years. You've been around as a bee that eat, and word, when you feel like it, you a eater. You're the same bee that was crying on Tasha K because you wanted a baby. Poor sushi." Gina then replied, "Carisha, you know you want to taste this yum yum sauce." That's when Miami responded with her viral tweet saying, "If I wanted you to eat my pdiddy, would have had you on your knees, you a eater." The you a munch. So if that was how Yungmiami was treating Gina in front of everybody on the interwebs, God knows how she treated her behind closed doors. And that's why most folks think Miami was not a victim. In fact, according to some reports, Miami might have been Diddy's Jaguar. Wright said at first, according to her, Diddy was paying her $500,000 a month for her services, and Miami only cared about the money because when Diddy cut down her allowance to $25,000, she lost it.
No, but understand this. Think about this. And there are women in this room. Why would you quit? What is going on that 250,000 ain't enough?
Ladies?
Like the fact that he, I'm just saying, the fact that he cut from 500 to 200. Who the gives a shit? 200K? Who 250K? Who turned it down 250K a month? What's going on in that relationship that 250K ain't enough?
We see some things.
That ain't worth 250K. That's gotta be some dark. Like, people are not understanding that girl quit 250K.
Javier also said that unlike others, Miami was downright desperate to take Cassie's place, and yes, that meant participating in the freak-offs and letting Diddy do whatever he wanted. You couldn't wait for Cassie to run. You couldn't wait to be in Cassie's shoes. Kisha please. However, Jaguar really turned heads when she said Yungmiami was just like Diddy. She called the rapper up. In fact, she went as far as to say that the reason Diddy was paying her $250,000 a month was because her job was to procure victims for him. He's a sec-hurrying GTAR. What don't y'all understand? To be on payroll? How many ways do I have to say it? This is wild. They pay bit to do damage and procure victims there, and all of these bit is worker $250,000 a month to do strange at will. And Jaguar Wright just might be right, because Miami's actions in front of the cameras have been nothing but questionable. This one time, Tay from Zeus Network recognized Miami on the red carpet, not because she had seen her in a music video or something. In fact, she said she remembered her from a trip they took together. Meanwhile, JT was standing in the middle looking pretty confused. In fact, the entire conversation sounded like a fever dream. It seemed like Miami didn't want to admit to knowing the woman. And she might have a good reason. According to the streets, Miami was involved in a freak-off with the woman in question, which is why she chose not to go down memory lane in front of the cameras.
You feeling? Where you know me from? I don't know. Remember? We went on, where did we go? We went on a trip. Remember? It's like a group of us. I can't remember. Where? You remember now? Oh, okay. All right. Well, now we're here. Girl, that was not what I was talking about.
Then there's her show Harishabi. It's supposed to be a talk show with Miami as a host, as she invites her friends and peers across the entertainment industry to have fun and spicy conversations over signature cocktails. Definitely let that money make her. Meanwhile, another person commented, "She is just like him. They are the type of people that do anything and everything for money. How they got it doesn't matter, as long as they can show up." But what do y'all think about the situation? Do you think that Yungmiami is a victim, or is she a perpetrator? Let us know in the comment section below. And thanks for watching my video.